Hi, welcome to the Be Seen, Be Loved TV show. I'm your host, Christie Love, and today we meet Arletta Allen. Arletta is the CEO of Authentically Arletta Limited LLC. She is a national award-winning speaker, right? Speaker,
Yes.
and she's also a TEDx speaker and dynamic professional speaker. She's a trauma recovery coach, authentic leadership trainer, and author of the memoir, Defying the Odds, Negotiating the Life to Turn Trauma into Triumph and Gratitude Anthology, Whoo Influenced You. Three relationships that transformed her life. So love that. For over 20 years, Arletta has impacted thousands of lives by delivering dynamic keynotes and engaging audiences across the nation. From very prominent conference stages, seminars, panels, workshops, facilitations, and workshop facilitations. Arletta advocates for TRIO and Upward Bound SSS programs as a voice to the underrepresented and first generation college students. She is everywhere. Arletta is a highly sought after and frequent guest on many major media outlets on topics such as leadership, authenticity, resilience, and defying the odds. Arletta regularly contributes to the media via podcast interviews, NBC Nightly News, Fox Valley, 365 Magazine, Inspire Women's Magazine, New North Magazine, and so much more. Now she is on the Be Seen, Be Loved TV show to tell us all about authenticity and more about what she does. Welcome, Arletta.
Thank you so much for having me here, Christy. It is such an honor to be here and to be with you. And once again, another opportunity to share my story, share who I am and what my mission is. I am a woman that comes from a very diverse background. I started off, of course, in poverty, living in Yazoo City, Mississippi, is where my story began. But then my story ended up in the state of Wisconsin and now has officially landed in the state of Texas. I've gone through a number of trials, tribulations, and traumatic experiences that have shaped me into who I am today.
Well, that's
And
definitely
although
that's definitely what I want to talk to you today about. It's a lot of our viewers have gone through a lot of trials and tribulations along their journey, and you have a very specific one. I love that you've traveled around, the nation. You've done so many different things within your career, but it wasn't always so easy, right?
It was not always so easy. And as you know, many of us have a frame of reference. All of us come from somewhere. And unfortunately, my story began once again in poverty, and it began in walking the dirt roads of Mississippi. My story is one of resilience and one of perseverance, because I started from mediocre means, and I was not given a proper example of what success looked like. I did not sit at a table where education was discussed. And neither did I come from a background where the hopes of being successful or the hopes of impacting others was a part of my story. So this is what God himself has given me as I've journeyed through. I was shaped into who I am according to the things that I've had to undergo. And one of the very prominent things that I talk about when I travel is my target audience is normally women. And the reason why it's women is because my story speaks to so many different women. I was a teen mom. I became a mom at the age of 16 years old. But before I became a teen mom, I was a prostitute at the age of 15 years old. And in a means of survival. And it all stemmed from rejection and the traumatic background that I experienced with my father. My father was one who was highly abusive. And when I say abusive, I mean literally dragging, screaming, kicking, beating my mother into a bloody pulse until there was nothing left of her. I mean, I'm watching my mother grieve the loss of her children that my dad would literally kick from her. And as a child, he didn't stop there. You know, he abused each and every one of us as well. I have very traumatic memories of my father pinning us to tables and beating us until we would bleed and couldn't sit for over a week. I have memories of my mother packing up everything that she owned and putting a for sale sign outside of our home and declaring that everything must go, because in a matter of 3 days, we would relocate from Yazoo City, Mississippi, all the way to Fond du Lac, Wisconsin, over 900 miles away from home. And my mother did that in a means of power and in a means of protecting what was hers, and that was her children. My mother wanted a safe place for us, and she wanted a place where we could dream bigger than what she had dreamed and have a hope for a future bigger than what she had. And so she took the risk. She stepped out in power. And I always take my notes from my mother. If ever I get confused while I'm out here on these platforms and I'm going from stage to stage and I'm talking and I'm reaching women, I always think back to my mother. She is the center of my everything. When I think about life lessons that I've been taught, the things I've learned along the way, it was my mother who gave me the blueprint. And even the things that she wasn't so proud of, I was able to learn from and stretch myself and decide later on in life that I wanted to make the difference in other people's lives.
Wow. Wow. What a story. What a story. And I'm sure that your mother was part of the book, Who Influenced You. I'm sure she was a thriving factor on the things that you do today and how you have overcome so many things. I mean, those are some horrific and very traumatic experiences that you've had in your early life, but that didn't stop you. And so you're here today, really being a voice for so many women who have gone through very similar, maybe not similar, but traumatic experiences in their life as well. So I like your strength. I love your strength. And I love seeing that within you, and that you're someone who persevered and you're still moving forward to newer heights, even though you didn't grow up in that environment. I mean, I didn't grow up in an environment where, you know, I guess education was taught, but I was the first person who went to school to get my master's degree in my family. And that wasn't taught. I just knew that I had to do something outside of the norm. And that sounds like something that you did as well. Now, are your siblings also, where are they? Are they also thriving and doing big things like you are as well?
Well, my family is still, many of them are still located in the state of Wisconsin. There are some family, some of my siblings that are living in the state of Mississippi as well, which my father, Papa was a Rolling Stone, you hear me? So when I tell you I was the oldest child that my father had, but I'm the oldest of about 14 children. So there's quite a few of us, but my immediate family, those that are connected to my mother and the family that my father had with my mom, are mostly located in the state of Wisconsin. And my oldest sister, Belinda, she's currently working as towards her master's degree in business and administration. She's worked with the company for over 10 plus years. Very, very proud of her. She's married, has a beautiful family, a very supportive husband. My sister, Sharonda, which is my baby sister, she's been in providing childcare solutions for a number, about 15 years. So that's her strong point. So she loves, absolutely adores children. And my brother is happily married and living his life. And, you know, they're all doing very well in their own right. And once again, we all come from nothing. We came from dirt, and we made a whole lot of something out of nothing. Very, very proud.
Right. But you all come from a woman of strength and power.
Absolutely.
Right. So
and see, my memoir, even for the anthology that's coming out, Who Influenced You, I saved my mother from that. I make mention of my mother, but I'm actually releasing a workbook journal entitled Baby, Let Me Tell You, that I'm completely dedicating to my mother. And it's about 100 quotes directly from my mom that she gave me in wisdom as I grew up and became into my teenage years, and carried me into adulthood as a wife, as a mom, and as an influencer. And all the things she told me that helped me to get through my worst times, paired with affirmations that I spoke over my life that have helped me to come to terms with who I am today.
I'm sure that book will be greatly beneficial to a lot of people out there. And I see a lot of women, or most of the women that I do meet who have gone through similar situations as you are, really have a hard time to thrive in life. They allow the things that have happened to them to really stop them. What do you say to those women who are stuck in the memories and the traumatic memories that they've gone through and just can't get out? However, they have visions, they have dreams and goals, aspirations to do something more and bigger, but they internally just can't. I know you talk to a lot of these women on a regular basis. So what do you say to them?
What I tell them is to remember that, number one, you are not defined by what your past said that you are to be. You're not defined by what you come from, even down to family members. You're not defined by what broke you. That's not your definition. And so if you want to talk about strength and you want to talk about tapping into the goals and the dreams that you have, you're going to have to activate some power. And that power acronym that I use for my own personal life that has taken me from height to height has been, I'm going to have to persevere. I have to recognize the fact that the P in power is for perseverance. I have got to push through some barriers. I've got to work through some things, and I have to be honest about what broke me, honest about what hurt me. And then now I can go on. Once I've become aware and I've accepted it, then I can put some action behind it. I can seek out counseling. I can seek out a mentor. I can tap into maybe my religious life. I can look at my pastors and get some help with the things that have hurt me and harmed me so that I can heal properly. Because ultimately, you cannot influence others until you have healed properly from the things that have set you back. And the next thing is the O. It's for ownership. Taking ownership of your story and owning who you are. Not setting yourself against a rock and trying to become what everyone else is. Getting out of the comparison game. Taking ownership of your story. I oftentimes say that transparency and vulnerability are not things that you shun. Those are superpowers. And when you begin to activate those two things in your life, don't be afraid or ashamed of your story, where you come from, and what allowed for you to be who you are. Those are super powers. Those are not for you to put in a closet, throw away on the shelf. Those are the things that you lead out with up front, because you're giving others the compassion and the courage to be able to go forth and share their story too. If I'm harboring all this to myself, and Lord knows I've gone through hell with gasoline underwear on, some woman out there needs to know that if Arletta can face all these things, that she too can overcome. She too can make it to that next level.
Yes, absolutely. And that's one thing that I saw in you when I first met you, is that you're a woman who can see that, hey, the situation is not right, and then seek and find ways to get out of that situation and move. Okay, you will move as far as you can from that situation so it doesn't happen again, because you still have to thrive. You still have work to do, and you can't work in that chaotic environment. And so I commend you for that, for just stepping out on faith. And I'm sure you've done that many, many, many times. But being a person who's aware of the situation, aware that something is not right. This person is not right. This environment is not right. It doesn't make me feel good inside. And I have to take care of myself, and I have to own my own power. And to be able to do that, I need to leave.
Absolutely. And when I talked about that power, we talked about perseverance, we talked about ownership, but next we talk about the work that it takes. Because many people walk around thinking that things just get handed to them, but you have to ask yourself this question. When you're talking about transitioning from trauma to triumph, you got to ask yourself, how bad do you want it? I cannot tell you how many times I've looked Arletta in the mirror and asked myself, how bad do you want to be free? How bad do you desire to have the success that you long for? How bad do you want that stage? How bad do you want that meeting? How bad do you need that interview? How bad do you want to impact someone else's life? And then you create action that comes behind that. And you learn how to protect your energy, which is the E in power. You protect your energy. You recognize that it's a valuable commodity, and you don't just hand it out to everyone. You make sure you are in alignment with what the people that you keep around you. Make sure that those that you keep around you have positive energy and are pouring into you. but also making themselves readily available for you to pour into as well. So it's not a take situation, but it's a give and take situation where we're both winning on both ends. So you have to assess the relationships in your life and making sure that you know where that sits when it comes to your energy and what you put out into the world. And lastly is resilience. That's the R in power. Be your ability to bounce back, because listen, honey, everybody has a setback. Everybody goes through something in life, and you can interview, I don't care what walk of life they come from. I don't care how successful they look today. Underneath all of that is a story of resilience, something they had to come back from.
Everyone has a story, and that's what my show is based around, is successful people to share their story, because it didn't just happen. It wasn't just given to them. They went through something in life that developed them into the person they are today, at the level they are today. And that's especially you. And just talk a little bit more about resilience. Sorry, I just cut you off there, but
the ability to bounce back, and not just bounce back, to do it quick, because time is always of the essence. And when you talk about life knocking you down and life happening, none of us are exempt. It happens to us all. I'm not the only woman in the world who's ever been abused by her father. I'm not the only woman in the world who's ever suffered through domestically abusive relationships. I'm not the only woman in the world who's had to redefine herself completely and in totality just to reach beyond her grasp, to have what it is that she knows that she deserves and what she desires. I made up in my mind a long time ago to stop at nothing, because I believed that the mission was that important. Operating in a place of pain from trauma was not where I wanted to be. And when I determined that that's not where I wanted to be, I had to put in proper precautionaries in order to not dwell there any longer. So my push for all women out there and men, my push is not just for women, it is for men as well. My focal point is women, because I am a woman. And I care about what happens to women. I care about whether or not women are resilient, and if they're walking around in their power and owning who they are. So many women have buried gifts in them that the world needs. Like, the world is only in lack because there are people who have locked away their gifts, their belief systems, and their love, and they're keeping it all to themselves, and they're not putting it where it goes. It belongs out into the world. And I was willing to sacrifice all of me to make that happen. And I'm still sacrificing today. I will stop at nothing until thousands of more people are impacted by my story. More people know what it means to pick up by their bootstraps and go on with the help that's needed, recognizing that none of us arrive alone.
Right.
We don't arrive alone. So it's going to take some people around the way to get you there.
Right. You sound like a very extremely strong person. And what I've realized and seen throughout my life is that a lot of women don't have that strength. A lot of people don't have that strength to be as resilient and as strong as you, to make these changes and to really continue to follow their dreams and their goals and create the success, in their business and their lives and the freedom that they desire. I'm going to ask you to give
my response to that will always be tap in.
You give 3 tips.
Tap in. My 3 tips for you would be to, number 1, tap in.
Tap in.
Tap into your power. Tap into everything that's working on the inside of you that drives you, and stop at nothing. And number 2, don't let it be for yourself. Your greater purpose always serves somebody else. The reason why you are who you are is so that you can help someone else, so you can uplift and strengthen someone else. It's not for you to keep to yourself. And number 3, I would always say, be your authentic self. The world has enough of everyone else in it. We don't need more like replicas or copies of people who have already done it. We need you. So if you're going to do anything, you need to tap into your power. You need to turn around, and then you need to make sure that you are influencing on a higher level for somebody else. And you need to be yourself while you're doing it, so that others can learn from you, and then they can get the courage to be themselves too.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for that. Thank you for that. And I think I know a lot of people need to hear that as well. I need that push and boost the motivation to start to make things happen. Start to make things happen for yourself, but not only for yourself, it's your duty to help other people along the way. And so we have to continue to thrive and get out of these awful relationships and really go out and create the business, create the life that we dreamed of, because
Yes.
if you wake
Yes,
up,
and that's what it's about, Christy. It's
if you
about
wake up,
creating the life that you want. And if you're going
right,
to tap in, get around the people that are doing the things that you want to do. Stop, like, cut your circle short. Tap into people that are doing what it is that you want. If you want to change that bad, then find your people. Everybody isn't for everyone, but find your people.
And your circle is very extremely important. Your circle is what's going to help you and support you during the times when things are bad. And
Yes.
many times it's not going to be your friends, your close friends that you've known since junior high school or family members. Sometimes it's other people outside of your current environment. It's your support system. So make sure that you have a strong support system of people who you can lean on, and of course vice versa, that you can fill up and serve as well. But that's vitally important to continue to work on your circle and strengthening that circle, right, Arletta?
Yes.
Well, before I let you go, Arletta, I want to ask you, what is lighting you up these days? What are you working on? I know you're working on some big things, but I want to hear all from you.
Well, I have my amazing platform that I launched not too long ago that is surrounding Defying the Odds, transitioning from trauma to triumph. And it is my movement. It is my baby. And it is really what keeps me going each and every day. I'm getting ready to release my memoir that is entitled Defying the Odds, Negotiating with Life to transition from trauma to triumph. And so I'm so excited about that. So I have gathered a group of over 400 plus people, and we are every single week working towards a topic that helps us to unpack the things that have traumatized us in our lives in a safe environment, and be able to take forth critical resources and empower ourselves to make the changes that we need to make in life, so we live the very, very best life that God intended for us.
That all sounds absolutely amazing. Where can our viewers find you? Where are you hiding these days?
You can find me just about on every single social media platform, Facebook, Instagram, also on LinkedIn. You can find me on YouTube, all at Arletta Allen Inspires. Or you can hit my website up at www.arlettaallen.com. Very, very simple. And everything that you need to know about me, and especially how to contact me and to reach out, is located on that website. And I certainly look forward to hearing from all of you.
Awesome. I love your passion. I hear that you are a person who is passionate about this topic, and you will not stop until you have reached everyone in this world with your message. And so I appreciate that as a speaker, and just commend you and say, keep thriving and keep shining. All right, Arletta.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thanks again.
Thank you for being on the show today. I just want to go over a couple of announcements before we head on over to conversation and a little Q&A. First, I want to give a shout out to Midwave Radio that airs our show in Scotland, the UK, and abroad, as well as on Win-Win Women, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, and also Apple TV. You can see the recordings there. Now I want to just tell you a little bit about a webinar that I have that you can find on my website, beseenbeloved.com. And if you know me, let me just talk about what I do. I help heart-centered, career-minded women who are overworked, anxious, and feel inferior in the workplace to rise to the next level of success by boldly stepping into their power as a stellar speaker who has found her voice and is able to communicate in a way that generates loads of cash with confidence, clarity, and confidence. So if that's you, you definitely want to tune into this webinar, How to Have It All, Career, Lifestyle, Family, without sacrificing your health and happiness. So you can go to my website, beseenbeloved.com, and grab it there, and it's free. So what's next? If you want to move forward and simply book a call with me, you can certainly do that by going to the website below, beseenbeloved.com/powerhouse-strategy-call. And let me just tell you about my Superwoman Speaker Suite, all right? It's a 90-day immersion or coaching program that's gonna help you to end your overwhelm, your chronic exhaustion, anxiety, rejection, drama, and really not feeling heard or seen or understood in the workplace or in your profession, right? And teaches you how to really emerge as a powerhouse woman who is deeply fulfilled and who's a amazing leader as well. And so I invite you to book a call with me, see if we're a great fit. I have openings right now for a few of you amazing women who are looking to really take your life to the next level, take your life and your career to the next level as your most amazing and most powerful self. Now, as always, I just want to thank you again for being on the show. And you can always catch me live on Mondays at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 1 p.m. Central Standard Time, and 7 o'clock p.m. in the UK time. And as always, before I go, I just want to send you much love and success. Bye for now.